You roll them out so bad, we can take our own show on the road. I'll lay down the beat, you carry the two. We'll get tattoos and we'll trash hotel rooms. Baby, take my hand, 'cause I don't wanna be a one-man band. The spotlight goes cold, the curtains come down. The chairs are all stacked and there's no one around. And nobody's paid, we'll still be playing. I don't wanna be a one-man band. I don't wanna be a rolling stone alone, putting miles on a run-down van. Baby, we can take our own show on the road. I'll lay down the beat, you carry the two. We'll get tattoos and we'll trash hotel rooms. Baby, take my hand, 'cause I don't wanna be a one-man band. I don't wanna be a one-man band.
I can't wait to show you where I grew up. Walk you around the foothills of my town. Probably feel like you've been there before. After hearing all the stories I've been telling you for 6 months now. We'll probably have to sleep in separate bedrooms. Pack a shirt for church because we'll go. I'm not trying to scare you off, but I just thought that we should talk a few things out before we hit the road. If I bring you home to mama, I guess I better warn you. She falls in love a little faster than I do. And my devil check your tires, pour your whiskey over ice and take your fishing, but pretend that he don't like you. Oh, if we break up, I'll be fine, but you'll be breaking more hearts than mine. My sister's gonna ask a million questions, say anything she can to turn you red. And when you meet my high school friends, they'll buy you drinks and fill you in on all the crazy nights I can't outlive. So if I bring you home to mama, I guess I better warn ya. She falls in love a little faster than I do. And my devil take your tires, pour your whiskey over ice and buy your dinner, but pretend that he don't like you. Oh, if we break up, I'll be fine, but you'll be breaking more hearts than mine. If I bring you home to mama, I guess I better warn ya. She feels every heartache I go through. And if my dad sees me crying, he'll pour some whiskey over ice and tell a lie and say he never really likes you. Oh, if we break up, I'll be fine, but you'll be breaking more hearts than mine. You'll be breaking more hearts than mine.
Take off your makeup, nobody's around. It's you and me, girl, just let your guard down. I see right through you, I know what it means. I know I got you. That moment when you close your eyes, I know I'm doing something right. I got you down to a T-shirt, white sheets, and red wine. Baby, you don't wanna leave. You want a record with some reverb, backbeat, and low light. You know what you need tonight, girl. I'll take my time, dot every I, baby, I got you down to a T. Stay here till sunrise. I wanna know you like it's the last time I'll ever hold you. Girl, every detail, leave it up to me. Lay back and let go. You don't even have to say anything, but by the way, you should see how you look in that T-shirt, white sheets, and red wine. Baby, you don't wanna leave. You want a record with some reverb, backbeat, and low light. You know what you need tonight, girl. I'll take my time, dot every I, baby, I got you down to a T. Don't worry, baby, 'cause driving you crazy is all I ever wanted. Now that I got you down to a T-shirt, white sheets, and red wine. You want a record with some reverb, backbeat, and low light. You know what you need tonight, girl. I'll take my time, got every I, baby, I got you down to a T. I got you down to a T. I got you down to a T.
Yeah, I'm a turner. I turn pages all the time. Don't like where I'm at. 34 is bad, so I just turned 35. Yeah, I'm a keeper. I keep digging down for the D. Like the records I'm playing, they might keep you waiting, but you know I'm gonna play it for keeps. And if the house just keeps on winning, I got a wild card up my sleeve. And if love keeps giving me lemons, I just mix them in my drink. And if the whole wide world stops singing and all the stars go dark, I keep a light on in my soul, keep the bluebird in my heart. Well, I'm a giver, yeah, and I'm still giving him hell. Forgiving's pretty hard, so I made an art out of forgetting him well. Yeah, I'm a rhymer. I can turn 20 cents into a 10. And if I get confused and I start to lose, I rhyme a dime till it all makes sense. And if the house just keeps on winning, I got a wild card up my sleeve. And if love keeps giving me lemons, I just mix them in my drink. And if the whole wide world stops singing and all the stars go dark, I turn the light on in my soul and keep the bluebird in my heart. And if love starts giving me lemons, just mix them in my drink. And if the whole wide world stops singing and all the stars go dark, I'll keep a light on in my soul, keep a bluebird in my heart. I'll keep a light on in my soul, keep a bluebird in my heart. Keep a bluebird in my heart. When the bluebird sings.
We were just a couple years short of the edge, mama name on a fake ID, and still about 100 away from the day your daddy said you could run with me. We were a couple of line steppers who just couldn't wait to step over the line, never thinking we would last. I was the first and you were mine, and we were the jackets hanging over the edge of the water tower skyline. At least there's a little bit of sweet in the middle, though part of me is always going to miss it. I am who I am, I'm just miss who I was when we were.
Good morning, everyone. We are getting started today on our very first webinar here at College Insights of how to get scholarship money. So thank you for joining. I know you guys have busy schedules, and I am going to share with you some really great tips, advice I have learned over many years of education to hopefully get you some pretty good funding for your college education. So just a few little things to get going. First, I wanted to just give a good background of myself, introduce myself, why we're here today, and why am I even qualified to talk to you about this kind of stuff. So that's me. My name is Alicia Howard. I am the CEO and founder of College Insights. We are a college consulting company based in the greater Seattle area. I am the only certified financial aid advisor in the state of Washington. There are only about 10 or 15 of us in the country, so I work with a lot of students around the world, actually, helping them get funding for school, helping them with all their financial paperwork, that kind of stuff. I have a master's in education. I'm a certified college counselor. I am in my 17th year of education, including 5 years as a university professor. I was also in corporate education. I'm trained originally to teach high school, so I have been in everything in education you could think of for a very long time. I have worked in college admissions for almost 10 years now, and I have been featured in almost a dozen publications in the past 4 years alone. So I have been at this game for a very, very long time, and today I want to share with you some of my top tips and some of the knowledge that I've learned over the many years in this field and how we've gotten students quite a bit of money for school. So that's just a little bit of background about me. Let's get some really quick housekeeping out of the way. You're going to want to take some notes for this one. We're giving you a lot of really good, juicy content today. Please turn off your cell phone, get into a quiet space. This webinar will be about 45 to 60 minutes long. So just so you have that for your time, I do want to give you your time back as soon as we can, but I also want to give you some really good content as well. A quick agenda for today. We are going to, number one, I'm going to show you how to calculate how much money you're even going to need in scholarships. I'm going to give you some 10 tips to win scholarships, where to look for scholarships, and so much more there will be time at the end to ask questions as well. We are also giving a raffle away today. So if you stay till the end, you are going to win a free FAFSA completion. So we can save you even more money and even more headaches. So that's where we actually will fill out your FAFSA for you. We will maximize it to make sure you're getting all of the money you're supposed to be getting. So if you stay till the end, we will be raffling off that free FAFSA for you as well. Okay, poll time. I have a little poll for you guys. Hopefully get you guys going. I'd like to get some solid participation in this one. What is your biggest concern when it comes to getting scholarships? What is your biggest concern when it comes to getting scholarships? The time it takes to find scholarships, not knowing where to find scholarships, that your child won't apply to scholarships, like they won't commit to the process, or lack of support, or all the above. Please go ahead and submit your poll answer. Oh, we got a couple for, yep. Please go ahead and click an option. It could even be all of the above. Yeah, your child won't apply to the scholarships. I get that a lot. It takes quite a bit of time to get through that. Very cool. Okay, the time it takes to find scholarships. Yes, it's very time consuming. All the above. Okay, we're getting some really great feedback here. So a little background on my story, because I think it sets the tone of why we're here today. We are here today because of my story and because of my background. So I grew up a single mom. Neither of my parents even graduated from high school, let alone did they go to college. I am one of, I think we counted last week at Thanksgiving, I'm like 30-something with 30-something cousins. So I came from a massive family, and I was one of the first people to go to college in my family. And I'm the first and only to get a master's degree or to get a higher level degree. So when I say I was on my own, I was really on my own. We really were a poor family growing up. You know, my mom wasn't well educated. So I really had to navigate this college system on my own with very little help, actually like no help. And so I ended up making a lot of mistakes, and a lot of the same mistakes that I'm sure many of you have made at this point. But what ended up happening was that I, ended up taking out too much debt in school. All kinds of things went wrong just because of a lack of knowledge. And because I've been in education for so long, when I went into admissions, that was my passion for starting College Insights. Most college consulting companies start because they want to get kids into Ivy League schools, which we do that every year too. But the passion for me was really to support those parents and those students through the process so that they didn't make the same mistakes that I did. So that's kind of my mission, is to start the next generation, that Gen Zers and the very young millennials. I want that generation to be well supported. And that is how College Insights was born almost 5 years ago now. So that is how we ended up here today. So let's get into some kind of the meat and potatoes of this thing, and get ready to take some awesome notes, because I'm going to give you some really great stuff. So first things first, before we even get into scholarships and how to get private scholarships, the easiest way to get money is to maximize the money you get from the university first. Now, when we are funding educations and we're trying to make school affordable, we're actually pulling money from many different sources. It's not like we're trying to get all money from one place. We're trying to get $10,000 here, $20,000 here, $5,000 here. We're pulling money from a lot of different sources. So in order to get the best amount of money, the easiest way to get money is to really get money from the university first. And there are a number of ways to do that, but that's not really what this webinar is about. But it's important to know that knowing where to go to school is a very easy way to make college affordable. So we want to get money from there first. Now, once we have pulled money from many different sources, that is where we want to start filling in the gap. So that's what this webinar is today, is how do we get private scholarship money? This is money that comes from, businesses, nonprofits, different organizations, that will give you money to fill this gap that we need to fill. So how do we do that? First, I want you guys to get your pen and paper, maybe a little calculator, because I'm about to tell you how much money you're even going to need for school. Many parents they get some very serious sticker shock when this happens. But it's very, very important because we don't know where to start, right? Until we have these numbers. So how much money will you need? I'm going to give you some just general ideas of the cost of college so that we can work backwards. Cost of University of Washington for 4 years is going to be at least $120,000 for 4 years. I often see it higher than that. Out-of-state colleges, if you're looking at University of California system, if you're looking at University of Colorado, a lot of out-of-state public universities, you're probably looking $200,000 to $250,000 range. Now, keep in mind that when people calculate the cost of college, the big thing they usually miss out on, and it's the biggest cost, is that cost of living. So you'll look online and University of Washington tuition is just about $12,000 a year. So you're like, that's not $120,000. That's just the tuition cost. A bedroom, if you're going to live near campus, just a bedroom at the University of Washington is going for $1,300 a month. So once you start calculating in, transportation and food and all that kind of stuff, the cost of living, it's not tuition that usually hurts families. It's usually the cost of living. So you have to calculate those costs in there. Private schools can often be a really big bargain, especially if people are going out of state. Now, there are also ways to save money going out of state. That's a different webinar. We can certainly send you an email when those webinars come out more in February and March. But if you're looking at different ways to save money, private schools can actually be a pretty big bargain. There's also some really great out-of-state schools that can be a really awesome bargain and can be very, very, very affordable. I just want you to get an idea of how much you're going to have to pay because we're going to have to work backwards. So we can start there. I'm going to do math for $100,000 just because it's a nice little round number. It's very common. Most families need at least $100,000 to get their kid through school for 4 years. So we'll start there. You can adjust it for whatever your situation is. So if you need $100,000 for school, we use the number 2,500 here at College Insights. The average scholarship amount is $2,500. Now that's a huge range. It could be $200. I've seen students get scholarships for $100,000. So there's a massive range in there. A solid middle ground is $2,500. So that's why we use that number. So if I need $100,000 divided by 2,500, I need to win 40 scholarships. Now, statistically, and this is based on the National Association for College Counselors, statistically, you're going to get 1 in 10 scholarships you apply for. However, I will tell you through experience, it's less. Most people are making, they're getting like 1 in 15 scholarships. But the national statistic is 1 in 10, so we'll use that number. So if I need to get 40 scholarships times 10, you need to apply to 400 scholarships to get $100,000. So that tells you why so many people lose at this game is because they just have no idea. So I'm going to make it easier for you today of how are we going to get all of this money. So here's your tip number 1. Biggest mistake I see students making of all the mistakes you can make in scholarships. The biggest mistake is waiting to apply to scholarships. I actually have a friend who her son was 7 years old when I started helping, and there's scholarships for very young children. There's all kinds of competitions they can apply to. There's some really cool stuff for even very young kids. A lot of scholarship doors open once that student turns 13. So don't wait until your kid is, in high school. You can apply very young. My friend has a goal that by the time her son gets into high school, he has $20,000 in scholarship money already lined up before high school. And so I think he's just turned 9 or 10. So she's been doing this for 2 or 3 years, and I'm just sending her stuff as I kind of see it. And she kind of looks around. It's nothing, intensive or anything, very casual. But I think he's already won like $4,000 or $5,000 in scholarships, and he's 10 years old. So we can start applying very young. So you don't want to wait. Now, if you already have been waiting and you're just getting started, that's fine. If your child's already in college, that's fine. Just start now. You don't want to wait longer than you have to because it does take some time. Tip number 2, start local in your scholarship search. So you want to ask your guidance counselor. Usually counselors at high schools have it's either like a binder, sometimes it's a bulletin board. Some schools are starting to have pages on their website, but they're going to have a place for you to get scholarships. If you're in college already, that's going to be the financial aid office. So you definitely want to start going to these scholarship places, start looking local, ask family members. You would be amazed at how many family members or your parents are involved in organizations. They might be in like a speakers bureau, or they might be in a women's organization, or, they're in Kiwanis or Rotary. A lot of these different organizations have scholarships available, and you just have to ask around. But that's really easy money to get, because usually that's easier to get because you have a connection there. Tip number 3, you want to, and this is a huge thing I see students make a mistake on, apply to scholarships with smaller loan or smaller amounts. Many students only go for large. They're applying to the Target scholarship or the Coca-Cola scholarship that are like $25,000. And that's great. I'm by no means saying don't apply to those scholarships. Apply to all of them. But don't shoo away the smaller amounts, because most students are not applying to those. They see it and they're like, oh, it's only $300. And we're going to get into later how it's actually more than $300 when you apply to those. But hey, that's $300 that somebody just wrote you a check for that you didn't really have to do much work for. So you want to add that up, and you get 10 scholarships at $300. That's a lot of money. So it adds up over time, and they're often a lot less competitive. So you do want to apply to those smaller ones in addition to the big ones. Tip number 4, stay organized. I see so many students miss deadlines. They miss deadlines because they weren't organized, or they forgot a piece of information they had to submit. All these kinds of things kind of happen when they're not organized. And unfortunately, school doesn't really teach students how to be organized, which is a very important skill. So it's very common, but however they need to stay organized. If they need to have separate folders on their computer, I usually recommend students have a scholarships folder, and then inside the scholarships folder, they have a separate folder for each scholarship, have alerts on their Google Calendar, whatever they need to do to make sure they don't miss deadlines and don't miss different pieces of information. That's very important. I've seen so many students miss out on scholarship opportunities because of lack of organization. Tip 5, and this is a big one, and if you are a parent of, maybe a sophomore or a junior, you are going to also want to listen to this because it really helps with your college applications as well. But follow up with the application committee. So I tell people this, again, this is another tip just for college applications. Follow up with the admissions office or whoever's awarding the scholarship, because just because you sent it doesn't mean they received it on their end. An example of this in college admissions is I have had students, they say they submitted their transcript, or they say they submitted their SAT scores, and something happened and it got lost, or I don't know, but things happen. They're managing a lot of different pieces of paper, and the school didn't receive the transcript or the SAT score. It got lost, and they got a rejection notice because they didn't call and confirm. They didn't make sure, hey, I sent my transcript in. Did you actually receive my transcript? Same thing goes with scholarships. You might have sent your essay in, but it could have gotten lost. And so you want to make sure that they received it on their end. And I'm going to go into something a little later of how this also actually helps you get the scholarship money too when you follow up. Tip number 6, be patient. Okay. I am the first person to tell you that scholarships is not a get rich quick scheme. It is a long process. It is not uncommon to have to apply to hundreds of scholarships. You guys saw that when we did the math in the beginning. It takes time. So it does take time. Don't be impatient. But here's a tip. Scholarships are tax-free money. So those parents who are on here, you know what that means. So that's why I was saying earlier, they might have gotten $300 in scholarship money, but you didn't have to earn that $300 and pay taxes on it first. So that's actually $400, you know, in money. So it's tax-free money. You do not ever claim scholarship money on your taxes. So it is worth it to commit to the process. And just remember that it's not a fast process. Tip number 7, avoid scams. I'm not seeing these as much anymore, but you shouldn't have to pay to enter to win a scholarship. Like, it shouldn't say, pay us $20 and then we'll enter you to win this scholarship. You shouldn't have to provide a social security number. There should never be a guarantee that you'll win the scholarship. You will start seeing, I'm seeing more of kind of like raffle scholarships, like the Discover Scholarship, for example, from Discover Card. It's a legit scholarship. You literally just enter your name in the drawing and they draw for the scholarship. That's fine, but it's free to do that. So just be careful that they're not asking for info they shouldn't be asking for. Tip 8, this is a really big one. I see so many students mess this up. Scholarship essays, they're not research papers. They are marketing material, okay? A lot of students like to regurgitate Googled information, okay? You want to sell yourself. You're trying to convince a scholarship committee that of all the students applying to this scholarship, you should give money to me. You have to sell yourself in doing that. So let me give you some examples. I had a student write about, it was something about, and you'll see in scholarships, they give you these really broad prompts for a reason. The problem with those really broad prompts is a lot of, especially high school students, don't have the critical thinking skills yet to really be able to narrow down a thesis statement. That's more of a skill you learn in college. And they kind of take it for what it is. And so they kind of tend to pick these prompts that are really broad. But for example, I had a student who the essay topic was on like technology and why is technology good, or how has it helped society, or something like that. And he wrote his essay on really broad, like the internet is good and the internet has helped us. And we have, you know, laptops, and laptops are great because back in the day, computers were really hard to get access to. And like, that's fine. And it fits the prompt, but that is a really boring prompt. And I bet a lot of people have used that prompt. So what we did was we recrafted it. And this student is a music major and his dad is actually a famous musician. And so we started talking to dad and we're like, Dad, what was it like back in the day? And he was like, man, back in the day, we were, I'd write a whole composure thing, and we'd go to practice and the singer would say, I want it in this key. Well, we'd get to practice and turns out the singer's like, oh, this doesn't really work with my voice. I need it in another key. It's like, it would take me 3 or 4 days to totally rewrite by hand that music sheet. And so I had to rewrite the whole thing by hand. It took me days just to change the song in, that key. And I probably had to change multiple songs, right? So it took a long time. Now I have a software. I click a button, boom, it pops out with the new piece and we're good to go. So that was huge. Other things like software, before I would have to have maybe a lot of pieces of equipment that were very expensive to be able to have a good music studio. And now there's all kinds of software and because of technology and manufacturing costs have dropped. So now it's cheaper and I can actually have the equipment I need for a lot lower cost. So these kinds of things. So the student rewrote the essay. Now, isn't that a lot better essay of, hey, I actually am a music major. I am going to use this scholarship money to help pay for my education. And here is an essay on technology that actually applies to my career. Isn't that a much better essay than, the internet is good, right? So you have to think of the scholarship committee. You always want to have something that demonstrates you, like a leadership trait or character or, how I'm going to use this in my field. Something about you needs to be in that essay. Another example would be, let's say it's one on malaria, and it's like the National Malaria Foundation. And they're like, tell me about malaria. Well, most students would write, malaria is bad and malaria is really common in these countries and access to medication and blah, blah, blah. That's regurgitated Googled information. Okay. Any student can do that. That is boring. That's what every student is going to do. Instead, you want to, and again, if this is like a malaria foundation, they probably already know that information. You're just telling them stuff they already know. That's boring. Instead, write something on, I went to Cambodia and I did a fundraiser for, kids at orphanages who have malaria. Or, I did a fundraiser and we donated money to this, Doctors Without Borders to get medication for malaria in, low income places or something like that, right? That's going to show a leadership skill, fundraising ability, something about yourself that, you're selling yourself, but it's also a much interesting thing. So they've learned you take leadership, you take initiative, you have a good heart. That's what they want to hear, not malaria is bad and we should try to get rid of it. I mean, that's kind of an obvious thing. So that's very helpful, and that can kind of really help students get a lot more money. Tip number 9, applying to scholarships, it's a lot like applying to a job. Again, a lot of people are applying to these scholarships. If you have an in, you are more likely to get a job, right? Same with scholarships. If you have an in, that's why it's great to start with family members and different organizations you're a part of, because they already know you and they like you and they trust you. So they're probably going to give you that money. So how do we do that? Obviously, you're not going to have an in at every scholarship you apply to, right? So you're going to create your own in. And the way you're going to do that is by, remember a few slides ago, we talked about following up with the scholarship committee. So you're going to create your own in. And one of the ways you can do that is by following up with the scholarship committee. Usually there's a person, it'll say for the scholarship, if you have questions, contact so-and-so. You want to do something with that person. You can email them a question beforehand and say, hey, just wanted to ask a question about this, or hey, I'm following up. I just wanted to make sure you received all of my materials I have on my end. I've submitted everything. Please let me know if you have anything missing and I would be happy to resubmit it to you. Anything you can do to make them feel connected to you, to remember your name. That way, when they actually go and, look at this, all the stack of applications they have. And then remember, you're going to have the good essay because you're going to know how to write it. You're not going to regurgitate Googled information, and you're going to hit the deadline. You're going to do all these really great things. Your application is now going to stand out. They're going to say, oh, I remember that person. They emailed me. Oh, what a responsible person. And they followed up and they got their deadline on time, and it looks good. Their essay's good. That makes you stand out compared to what every other student is doing. Tip number 10. Okay, the saying, don't judge a book by its cover. That's not true for scholarship applications. And I will tell you this as a teacher, it matters what you turn in, okay? So if I have 2 applications, same quality, great essays, like all things considered, they're the same thing, but one's done on like loose leaf paper and it looks like it's been in your backpack for 2 weeks, and the other one's really nice and it's typed and it looks really pretty. I'm going to choose the one that looks really nice because that person took care, right? You care what you submit. And I tell that to my students all the time when they would submit, they would give me, like something's all smudged and gross. And I'm like, care about your work. That shows a lot about you when you care about what you turn in and what you're presenting to people. So you definitely want to do that. So make sure it looks nice. Same with spelling, grammar, punctuation errors. Again, care about the work you're turning in. I don't expect, especially if it's a high school student, I don't expect completely perfect grammar. I mean, they're at the level that they're at, but I mean, they should know, they should not be turning in stuff with a bunch of spelling errors and stuff. It just doesn't look good. One note, and this is coming from Alicia, the teacher, not Alicia, the college consultant, but I see a lot of students do this, and this is, again, more coming from me as a teacher. do not have your teachers read all of your scholarship essays. Okay. Have a parent, or if you have a family friend that's a good editor, or maybe you have an older sibling that's a good writer. A lot of the times public libraries have free kind of tutoring time, and you can go and ask the librarian to help you write. There's a lot of other resources out there that you can have people help you with your essays, but please don't ask your teachers to do it. Okay, they have a lot of other stuff that they have to get to, and you have to remember you're probably not the only student coming to them with writing. And same with application essays. Don't have your teachers read your application essays. You have to remember, like, they're not getting paid for that, and they'll never say no to you. But when you have, it's not just one student, you probably have 20, 30, 50 students asking you for this, and that's literally time they're taking away from their families and from their time. Like, you're literally taking time away from them spending time with their own children when you have them do extra work like that. And so have somebody else do it. There's tons of really good writers out there that can help you. Okay, we have another poll. So, give me 1 second. Okay. Do you feel like the tips I just shared will help you increase your chances of winning scholarship money? Did you find this helpful? Yes, no, or maybe? Please answer. I think it just went on there. Okay, was this helpful for you? Yes, no, maybe. Yes, everybody's answering yes. Very cool. Yes, no, maybe is very helpful for you. Got all yeses. Awesome. Here's some tips of how you are going to find these, how you increase your chances of winning. You still have to find the scholarships. So how are you going to do that? How do you find these scholarships? This is where most people get very stuck. It's usually the most time-intensive part of the scholarship process. Yeah, I just taught you how you're going to write your essays, how you're going to edit them, how you're going to present them, how you're going to, follow up with the committee, increase your chances. How do you find them? This is where people get very, very stuck. So here are some resources for you. FastWeb's a big one. Collegeboard.org. College Board is the same company that does the SATs. So it's a private company, but they also have a section on their website to get scholarships. Scholarships.com is a good resource. Unigo.com is a good resource. A lot of local libraries also have big scholarship books that you can go find. Now, the downside for this, and you're going to see if you've ever actually applied to scholarships, you will know. Even on FastWeb, you can try to apply, but you'll notice their analytics or their algorithm, it doesn't narrow it down specifically. So usually you're going to have to kind of really dig for some of these scholarships. So common problems you're going to have when finding these scholarships is that you're going to find scholarships, but you don't qualify, or, maybe the deadline's late. You kind of start running into these issues when you start finding the scholarships. So here's the problem. So you can spend hours researching to realize you can't find very many scholarships. You spend hours finding scholarships to realize you don't qualify for them. You realize, but usually what happens is, parents, kids, they start finding scholarships, and by the time they find 5 or 10, it's so much work. They've applied and they kind of end up giving up. I had a dad the other day who said they spent an hour looking for scholarships, and I think they found 3. Remember, you guys, you're going to have to apply to 400 scholarships, 200 scholarships to really start getting money. So it takes a lot of time. So what's the solution to all of this? What if we just did all of this for you? What if we could find all the scholarships you qualify for? They were all scholarships that, based on past statistics, you have a high chance of qualifying for, and we just handed it all over to you in a very nice, organized list like this. So this is an example of a service that we offer. We can find the scholarships for you. They're organized by due date in tabs. So it's January, February, March, April. They'll be in different tabs. Within those tabs, they'll be organized from the first day to the last day of the month. And you get something like this. So you have the scholarship number here, the due date, the name of the scholarship, the amount, the links with the resources, and then we also fill out all applicable information for you, like address, phone number, kind of things that I would call kind of time-sucking information. So we actually will do all of this for you. So you literally go here, you click the link, submit a piece of work. Maybe it's a transcript. Go here, click the link, write an 800-word essay, submit. Click the link, write a 500-word essay, submit. Students are usually getting through about 100 scholarship applications in 3 or 4 months by doing this, because we literally are taking a lot of that work out for you. All you have to do is write the essay. Videos are also really big these days. You don't need to be Steven Spielberg. Just shoot a video with your video camera, submit it. But you can see when you literally have to click a link and submit paperwork or write a quick essay and submit, it goes really fast and you're able to get through a lot of scholarships in a very short amount of time. So we can do all of that for you. We make it super simple. Why do people do this? Again, it saves them a lot of time. Our dad the other day just said he spent a full hour looking for scholarships and he found 3. How are you supposed to apply to 400 when it takes you an hour to find 3? So on average, we're probably saving our clients about 80 to 100 hours of time by just doing all of this work for them. That way, all you have to do is your kid just has to write the essay and then you're done. So if you would like some help with this, we can do that for you. You can get a customized list of scholarships. Every scholarship on that list is something you qualify for, which you just saw a couple slides back. We will fill out all the basic information for you, name, address, create the accounts, simple things. You're also going to get a bunch of guides and materials that show you how to stay organized, how to use the list, how to increase your chances of success, all those things. Basically make it as easy as possible for you to get through these scholarships. Plus, you're going to get 1 free onboarding call with a scholarship specialist that will walk you through your essays, your applications. They'll answer your questions for you. That way you actually can talk to a person to get help with this process. You get 1 free call with this package. I very much recommend what is very successful for most students is when you get your list. So for example, it's December. Let's say you get your list in a couple weeks. Then in January, you go to the January tab. You start applying to the scholarships due in January. Write a few of the essays, then schedule your onboarding call. That way you have some work to show them. And then our scholarship specialist can actually go through that work with you, make suggestions, help you make your application stronger, answer your questions. Then that will set you up for the whole application process. So we will do all of this for you. Here's some testimonials from past clients that we worked with. Using College Insights scholarship list and strategies helped my son get over $20,000 in scholarships his first year of college. The stress relief of not having to do the work ourselves was worth it. College Insights has helped both of my sons get scholarships to pay for their educations. They were able to get enough scholarship money to cover over 70% of their tuition. So we've had a lot of success with this. We are making it very, very easy to be able to get scholarship money. Literally all your student has to do is write the essays. And today we are having a 7-day money back guarantee. So I know a lot of you are like, oh, I got to talk to my spouse or my child's at school or whatever. That's fine. If you buy today, you have 7 days. We will give you your money back. No questions asked. If you do buy today, you have 7 days. We will give you a full refund. So you really don't have a whole lot to risk there. Now, here's some common questions with this package. Are there any guarantees? No, there's not guarantees. Now, when I give you that list, we make your list of scholarships. When I hand that over, you own that list. It is yours. I cannot take it away from you. So the success of it, we can do all this work for you. We can find the scholarships. We can give you the onboarding call. We can go over your essays. We can do all this stuff. At the end of the day, you have to make the deadlines. You have to do quality work. I can't control the scholarship committee. There's a lot of variables that go into having successful scholarships. I I would be lying to you if I said I can guarantee you anything. I could never guarantee you. I can't control the committee. What I can do is set you up for success and increase your odds. What's the time commitment? Kids are busy nowadays. It's really up to you. Again, you own this list. I recommend 5 to 10 hours a week doing this. Most students have natural breaks. For example, in college, some students might have 2 hours Monday and Wednesday between classes. So they'll kind of spend those 2 hours applying to scholarships. Maybe Sunday is a little better day for them, so they'll commit some time on Sundays to do it. Whatever works for their schedule, 5 to 10 hours we find is pretty, students can find that time. And then, like I said, most students, the way we have this set up with 5 to 10 hours of time per week, are getting through 100 applications in about 3 or 4 months. So, and then some months will be busier. It's, again, organized January, February, March in different tabs. So maybe January, you only have 5 scholarships. But in April, when the spring is a little busier, maybe you have 15 scholarships. So some months will be busier than other months. But generally, 5 to 10 hours a week works really well. What's our success rate? We do follow up with all of our clients. Unfortunately, they do not always get back to us. So we have a hard time collecting data on this. What I can tell you is that students who do what we tell them, so you're meeting your deadlines, you're doing a good job and submitting good quality work, you're following up with the committees, all of these things that we've taught you, we do find the more the student puts into it, the more they get back. If you're not, I've had students, they don't even apply, they apply to like 5 scholarships and then they give up. The more you put into this, you get into it what you put out of it. So students who are successful, they've committed to the process. If they're not successful, they haven't committed to the process. When do I receive my list? Usually from the time we get your paperwork. So if you buy today, you're going to get a link to an intake form. You have some information to fill out so that we actually know what scholarships to try to get you. Once we receive that paperwork, it's 3 to 4 weeks before you'll actually receive your list. So right now is a really good time with Christmas break coming up, actually. So I would really recommend trying to get that in soon so that you can have your list by Christmas break, and then students can spend the break time getting ahead on that stuff. Can I reapply for scholarships if I don't get them the first time? Yes, absolutely. It's very cool. You can apply every year. Some of those scholarships are even renewable. So if you get them 1 year, you automatically get them years 2, 3, 4, 5. So yes, you can absolutely apply. And we recommend students do that. So for example, if you get a list of scholarships now, and let's say your student is a senior, if you don't get anything the first year, that's fine. You've already done the work. So just the next year, the essay is already written. Just go through, fix it up, make it better, and then submit it. So it's actually a lot. The first year is the most amount of work. After that, it's really easy to just keep reapplying. So scholarships is a numbers game. The more you apply to, the more successful people are. So yes, apply every single year, which is awesome. So what that means is that you're actually getting more scholarships than you think. So for example, if you get a list of 200 scholarships, you're actually getting a list of 1,000 scholarships if your child is a senior in high school, because you have senior year plus all of college. So you actually are getting a lot more scholarships than you think you are if you purchase a package like this. One thing I will also tell you is that students, as they go through school, they tend to have more success because, from the time you're a senior in high school to the time you're a junior in college, you're usually a better writer, you have stronger critical thinking skills. So when you go through and just make those tweaks and resubmit it, I find students actually start getting more scholarships the farther they go down the line. So that's actually very cool. You're getting a lot more scholarships than you think you are. Now you're probably thinking, how much does this cost? So actually, here are the costs. You have 3 options. You can get a list of 50 scholarships, 100 scholarships, or 200 scholarships. The normal cost is right there. A list of 50 is $5.99, 100 is $9.99, 200 is $18.99. Now today, everything is 20% off today. So a list of 200 scholarships, you're actually saving $379, so almost $400 off of the cost. That list of 200 scholarships, we have a full research team that actually that's all they do is they find people money for school. So list of 200 scholarships, it takes our research team about 60 hours, and that's working with a database, and they do that for a living. So how long is it going to take you to get to 200 scholarships when it takes our team 60 hours? So that's why I say usually our clients, we're saving 80 to 100 hours of time for a list of 200 scholarships. So ton of time. All you have to do is focus on actually submitting the work. This is 20% off today only. If you do call us tomorrow or any other day, it is the regular price. So huge savings today to save you probably 100 hours of time, plus the learning curve with that free onboarding call and all the materials you're going to get to make this super easy for you. So I'm going to open the floor for some questions. Answer any questions. Remember, we are going to have a raffle here. If you stay to the end, we got about 5-10 more minutes here. If you want to win a free FAFSA, you can get that. But I do want to open the floor for any questions that you have about this or anything of the scholarship process. Any? Yeah, somebody said that I'm watching for my son who's only 11. Am I too early to watch this? No, like I said, I have friends who I have them getting scholarships when they're 7, 8 years old. I've seen competitions for scholarships for kindergartners. There's really cool, like little science competition or poetry competitions, and you can win scholarships for kids very, very often. Any other questions? If you are interested in this scholarships package, again, you can choose 50, 100, or 200 scholarships. You can click this Buy Now button. It will take you to a landing page. You will tell us how many scholarships you would like. You can also make it in payments. If you cannot afford the full price today, you can break it into 3 payments as well. So you can break it into payments. Again, this is only for the next hour. I believe the clock is up there running if you would like to purchase this today. One thing we are seeing a lot of success with are legacy gifts. So for example, with Christmas coming up, a lot of the times, grandma, grandpa, aunts, uncles are chipping in money to help pay for this package as well. And a lot of them, are willing to throw in a couple $100 to help your kids out. A lot of grandparents can't pay $100,000 for school, but they'll throw in $200 for a scholarship list because statistically a list of, 200 scholarships is worth about $50,000. So, hey, I'd rather get that for my son or my grandchild than have to pay $100,000 for their school. So, a lot of times family members are willing to chip in on this, especially with Christmas just around the corner, if that's something you are interested in. Again, you can make payments on that today if you can't afford that cost. And there is a 7-day money back guarantee. This offer will expire in the next hour. So if you're nervous and you're like, oh, I don't know if my kid will do it, or I have to talk to my spouse, totally fine. We will give you your money back if you don't have a chance to talk to your kid right this second. So your child, if they're a good student, if they're going to stick with this. I think you probably know their personality pretty well if they're willing to do this. Any other questions popping up? Not seeing any other questions. Let's draw a raffle. I have one of my team members in the background is running a winner in the background for those of you who stayed. So I will have a winner here in just a second if you want to win a FAFSA. check some other questions. I have a question. Do you have another webinar so I can share with a friend? Yes, we're having the same webinar on Tuesday and Thursday next week, same time. We're also going to have more webinars after the new year. We're going to have a webinar on the junior, like basically junior planning on the college timeline. So if you want to know, when do I start studying for the ACT or SAT? When do I start writing essays? When do I start going on tours? That webinar is awesome. It is worth its weight in gold. It is lots of juicy information and things that you can take home with you. So that's a webinar we're having. We're going to have a webinar on college essays, for how to write college essays. So we are going to have more webinars. If you would like, we will keep your email and we can add you to those lists as well. Okay, so I have a winner here. Dave, if you are still online, you are the winner of the FAFSA. So we will be emailing you and possibly calling you, reaching out, and we will do that FAFSA for you. So congratulations and thank you for staying until the end. Yes, and Sophie, I believe you said, you can share the webinar with your friends. So yes, go ahead and send her that registration link and she can register for next week's webinar. And then if she can't make it, that's completely fine. The replay can be sent as long as she registers for the webinar, and we can send the replay or she can watch it live, completely up to them. Okay, if you have any other questions, or I know a lot of you are probably really freaked out right now because you didn't realize your kid was going to have to apply to 400 scholarships. Fine, totally get it. You can connect with us online, follow us on Facebook. We send tons of blog posts out and videos and lots of content if you want to start preparing for this stuff. Lots of free stuff there. We post almost every single day with something. And then you can watch, or you can call us, you can email us if you would like to schedule a free consultation to help your child kind of get going, get started. You can do that as well. So go ahead and connect with us there. Awesome. Dave says you're still there. You won the FAFSA. Very cool. So we will be contacting you for that. We have one question. My daughter is in her senior year. Is it worth it applying for scholarships? Yes. Actually, that's an awesome time to start, is senior year of high school. The cool thing, here's a cool fact. If your child is in high school now, when we create these college lists particularly, those scholarships in high school are usually a little easier to get. So they get to double dip. So they'll get to do scholarships for high school students and scholarships they qualify for as college students. So it's really cool. They'll actually be able to apply to a wider net of scholarships. That is also the same if your child is in Running Start. We get to double dip. We get the best of both worlds. And you want that because you're going to need, again, you're applying to a lot of scholarships. It takes time to get that kind of money. And so if your child's a senior in high school, beautiful. Start now. Don't wait till they're in college. You have a lot of time. And again, a lot of deadlines are in the spring. So you have not missed a lot of those really good spring scholarships. You got to get going now. But you'll have all of senior year, and plus you'll have time in college. The only time when I usually say it's a little too late to start applying to scholarships is if your child's a senior in college. Once they make it to senior year of college, it's just hard to get money. Then we're talking about student loan forgiveness and getting help on the student loan side, which is very common. But scholarships are usually a little too late by that point. Colleen asks, my son is in his first quarter of college. Are his options limited? No, actually, that's fine. Like I said, the only time it's kind of too late is senior year of college, possibly like later junior year of college, but that's perfect. If he's in his first quarter, again, that gives us at least a full 4 years. And honestly, most students aren't graduating in 4. The average is 6. But most students are taking over 4 years anyway. So that's perfect. That gives us, almost 4 entire years to get this kind of money. So Colleen, no, it's not too late. We get tons of students. And in fact, most of the students we work with are already in college, because what happens is, you're busy, you're applying for admissions, that kind of thing. And so what ends up happening is that you're kind of behind, like most parents are kind of behind the boat when they get through admissions, and then all of a sudden their kid's in college and they have to pay that first bill, and they're like, oh crap, this is really expensive. And then they end up calling us when they're already in college. So totally fine. That's very normal. Options are not limited. We have tons of scholarships for students we work with at that age. We have a question. Are there any income boundaries of parents looked at for scholarships? So again, these lists are completely customized to you. So if you're a very high, if you're high income, it doesn't matter. There are so many scholarships. And in fact, most people don't realize most scholarships don't have income restrictions on them. There are some, but that's okay, because if your income's too high, we just won't give you that scholarship to apply to. Most scholarships have no income requirement, so not a big deal. It has never been a problem. We have, and actually, we do a really cool webinar on financial aid, which we'll be doing next year. But you'd actually be surprised. We call that the death gap. So when a parent makes too much money to qualify for any kind of grants or, scholarships, like school scholarships, but they don't make enough to, again, pay $200,000 for their kid to go to school, they're in the middle. And that's most parents. We call that the death gap. You make too much to qualify, but you don't make enough to pay cash. That is actually most of the clients we work with. So don't worry about it. We have thousands and thousands of scholarships in our database. That's most of the students we work with kind of make, I use air quotes, quote too much. They don't make too much, but you know what I mean. So very, very normal for the, don't worry about the income requirements. The question, my son is a freshman at Cal Poly. We live in Washington. Are there any best places to look for scholarships? If your child is already in school, I would recommend go to the Cal Poly Financial Aid Office, and they will usually have some scholarships that are for students at that school. For example, there might be an organization the school works with that they're offering to students at Cal Poly. Look at your place of employment. Start looking at, family members. For example, we just had a client we worked with, and we just got a huge list from her family of different organizations aunts and uncles are part of that offer scholarships, or maybe their employer offers a scholarship. So definitely start asking around to family members and friends if they're a part of organizations that are offering scholarships. But I would definitely start with Cal Poly's Financial Aid Office and go from there. Yeah, if you're trying to do it yourself. And again, you can always go back to those resources I offered you, scholarships.com, FastWeb. You can definitely go back to those places online and start looking yourself. Again, you're going to run into the problem of it's actually a lot harder to find scholarships you qualify for on those places. But you can definitely go to those resources and try to do it yourself as well if you want to look at the general resources. Any other questions or anything? I'm not seeing any new ones pop up. And we're happy if you think of questions in the next couple of days. Feel free, our contact's on there. You can call us, you can schedule an appointment with one of our counselors, and definitely we can answer some more specific questions. The offer should still be up there. If you want us to just do this for you and hand walk you through this process and find the scholarships and again, baby step you through this offer is good for another 40 minutes. And you can just click that button. Again, you'll pick between 50, 100, and 200 scholarships. And then you can choose to pay it today, or you can make it in payments if you would like to break that into payments. Let me go back to that slide for you. So here are the costs today. One thing I will tell you, as you said, you've done the math on how much money you're going to have to need for school. So I will tell you that the list of 50, if that's what you want to start with, you absolutely can. We have a lot of clients who are like, let me just see if my kid will do this. We'll start with a list of 50 just to get it rolling. Absolutely, we can do that. I will tell you from experience, 50 scholarships is not very many. As you can see, this is a numbers game. This is not a get rich quick thing. You have to do the work. You have to apply to a lot of scholarships. 50 is just really not that many. But again, if you just want to see if your kid's going to start it, definitely go for the 50. But we see the most success when people do the 100 or 200, just because that's the number. It just takes that much. It takes that much. So I would recommend going with a list of 100 or 200 for sure to get you going. And it's 20% off today. So, hey, why not? We're going to save you a ton of time. You're going to get your list. It'd be great to get over the Christmas holiday and just get it out of the way and have your kids start applying and get your onboarding call done. Very cool. Okay, I will wrap this up now. Again, you have about another 40 minutes to get this package at the discounted rate. Again, you have a 1 week free money back guarantee. So I know a lot of you are probably like, oh, I gotta talk to my spouse or my kids in school. Don't worry about it. We'll give you your money back if you change your mind later. But the offer is good for another 40 minutes or so. But thank you guys for joining. I will stay on for a little longer in case you guys have any questions. And I will stay on for a little bit. Please, check out your email. We'll be sending you for more webinars on, again, financial aid and essays and creating an ACT or an SAT plan and junior planning, all kinds of really cool free webinars we're going to be offering this coming year. You can join us on, get lots of information. Thank you guys for your time today. Again, I'm going to stay online in case any of you have questions. Otherwise, you can get back to your day and have your lunch and enjoy the rest of your week. Have a great holiday season. Again, feel free to schedule a call with us if you'd like to get a free consultation. I'm sure a lot of you are, this is one piece of the college admissions puzzle is scholarships. There are many, many, many more pieces. So I'm sure a lot of you are kind of in a panic right now, but don't worry about it. We'll get you through it. Feel free to schedule a call with us. And otherwise, enjoy the rest of your week. And thank you for joining our team of webinars.
low for so long. Nobody's singing a harmony. Up there, just me and my shadow. No bass, no guitar, no tambourine. And I found you like a melody. You were singing in the same key as me. We had them dancing in the streets. I don't wanna be a one-man band. I don't wanna be a rolling stone alone, putting miles on a rundown van. Maybe we can take our own show on the road. I'll lay down the beat, you carry the tune. We'll get tattoos and we'll trash hotel rooms. Baby, take my hand. I don't wanna be a one-man band. No. I wanna run down your wild dreams, and I wanna chase every high with you. Count every rip in these old jeans. You'll never learn how to sing the blues. If I'm gonna be famous, girl, I wanna be famous with you. We got our own little groove. I don't wanna be a one-man band. I don't wanna be a rolling stone alone, putting miles on a rundown van. Baby, we can take our own show on the road. I'll lay down the beat, you carry the tune. We'll get tattoos and we'll trash hotel rooms. Baby, take my hand, 'cause I don't wanna be a one-man band. When the spotlight goes cold, the curtains come down, the chairs are all stacked and there's no one around, and nobody's paying, we'll still be playing. I don't wanna be a one-man band. I don't wanna be a rolling stone alone, putting miles on a rundown van. Baby, we can take our own show on the road. I'll lay down the beat, you carry the tune. We'll get tattoos and we'll trash hotel rooms. Baby, take my hand, 'cause I don't wanna be a one-man band. I don't wanna be a one-man band.
I can't wait to show you where I grew up. Walk you around the foothills of my town. Probably feel like you've been there before, after hearing all the stories I've been telling you for 6 months now. We'll probably have to sleep in separate bedrooms. Pack a shirt for church because we'll go. I'm not trying to scare you off, but I just thought that we should talk a few things out before we hit the road. If I bring you home to mama, I guess I better warn ya. She falls in love a little faster than I do. And my dad will check your tires, pour your whiskey over ice, and take you fishing but pretend that he don't like you. Oh, if we break up, I'll be fine, but you'll be breaking more hearts than mine. My sister's gonna ask a million questions, say anything she can to turn you red. And when you meet my high school friends, they'll buy you drinks and fill you in on all the crazy nights I can't outlive. So if I bring you home to mama, I guess I better warn ya. She falls in love a little faster than I do. whiskey over ice and buy you dinner, but pretend that he don't like you. Oh, if we break up, I'll be fine, but you'll be breaking more hearts than mine. If I bring you home to mama, I guess I better warn you. She feels every heartache I go through. And if my dad sees me crying, he'll pour some whiskey over ice and tell a lie and say he never really likes you. Oh, if we break up, I'll be fine, but you'll be breaking more hearts than mine. You'll be breaking more hearts than mine.
Take off your makeup, nobody's around. It's you and me, girl, just let your guard down. I see right through you, I know what it means. I know I got you, that moment when you close your eyes. I know I'm doing something right. I got you down to a t-shirt, white sheets, and red wine. Baby, you don't wanna leave. You want a record with some reverb, backbeat, and low light. You know I know what you need tonight, girl. I'll take my time, dot every I, baby, I got you down to a T. Stay here till sunrise. I wanna know you like it's the last time I'll ever hold you. Girl, every detail, leave it up to me. Lay back and let it go. You don't even have to say anything, but by the way, you should see how you look in that t-shirt, white sheets, and red wine. Baby, you don't wanna leave. You want a record with some reverb, backbeat, and low light. You know I know what you need tonight, girl. I'll take my time, dot every I, baby, I got you down to a T. White sheets and red wine. You want a record with some reverb, backbeat, and low light. You know I know what you need tonight, girl. I'll take my time, got every I, baby, I got you down to a T. I got you down to a T. I got you down to a T.
Yeah, I'm a turner. I turn pages all the time. Don't like where I'm at. 34 is bad, so I just turned 35. Yeah, I'm a keeper. I keep digging down for the D. Like the records I'm playing, they might keep you waiting, but you know I'm gonna play it for keeps. And if the whole wide world stops singing and all the stars go dark, I keep a light on in my soul, keep a bluebird in my heart. Well, I'm a giver, yeah, and I'm still giving them hell. Forgiving's pretty hard, so I made an art out of forgetting them well. Yeah, I'm a rhymer, I can turn 20 cents into a 10. And if I get confused and I start to lose, I rhyme a dime till it all makes sense. And if the house just keeps on winning, I got a wild card up my sleeve. And if love keeps giving me lemons, I just mix them in my drink. And if the whole wide world stops singing and all the stars go dark, I turn the light on in my soul and keep the bluebird in my heart. And if the house just keeps on winning, I got a wild card on my sleeve. And if love starts giving me lemons, just mix them in my drink. And if the whole wide world stops singing and all the stars go dark, I keep a light on in my soul, keep a bluebird in my heart. I'll keep a light on in my soul, keep a bluebird in my heart. Keep a bluebird in my heart. When the bluebird sings,
We were just a couple years short of the edge by my name on a fake ID, and still about 100 away from the day your daddy said you could run with me. We were a couple of line steppers who just couldn't wait to step over the line, never thinking we wouldn't last. I was your first and you were mine. And we were leather jackets hanging on to a heart like two heartbeats in the moonlight. We were both feet hanging out over the edge of the water tower skyline. At least there's a little bit of sweet in the bitter, though part of me is always gonna miss it. I am who I am, I just miss who I was when we were. We were gonna make it work, we baby had it all laid out in our mind. By the time we knew time was running out, we both run out of time. And we were downtown Saturday night, last call cover band. Till the last song played, never thought we'd fade like a stamp on the back of my hand. And we were on the shoulders lighter and the air pour some sugar on me. We were top down in Johnson's field when she whispered that she wants me. At least there's a little bit of sweet and a bit of though a part of me is always gonna miss her. I am who I am, I just miss who I was when we were. We were leather jackets hanging on to a heart and two heartbeats in the moonlight. We were both feet hanging out over the edge of a water tower skyline. And he says a little bit of sweet and a bit of though a part of me is always gonna miss her. I am who I am, but I just miss who I was when we were. What we were. Friends say, oh well, let that ship sail, you gotta let go of her. Just what meant to be, but somewhere down deep I still believe we were.
How can someone stand so damn close and feel like they're worlds away? I can see your sad story eyes, so how do you have no words to say? All I want is to fall in deeper than I've ever been. Why won't you let me? I can handle your heart, so help me. Here you are next to me, so much beauty at my feet. All I wanna do is swim, but the waves keep crashing in. No, I'm not afraid to drown. Take me out, take me down. I'm so tired of the shore. Let me in, baby. You're an ocean beautiful and blue. I wanna swim in you. Like a lighthouse, I've been shining bright through the dark for the both of us. And I've done it out of love's not enough. But God, how I wish it was. And I don't wanna find out how much lonely I can take before you lose me. Baby, look at me and swear you won't lose me. Here you are next to me, so much beauty at my feet. All I wanna do is swim, but the waves keep crashing in. No, I'm not afraid to drown. Take me out, take me down. I'm so tired of the shore. Let me in, baby. You're an ocean beautiful and blue. I wanna swim in you. I can't let go from arms in your arms, but they come back again. The waves, 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 the waves. Here you are next to me, so much beauty at my feet. All I wanna do is swim, but the waves keep crashing in. No, I'm not afraid to drown. Take me out, take me down. I'm so tired of the shore. Let me in, baby. You're an ocean beautiful and blue. I wanna swim in you.
When I drove away, you just let me. Like you forgot about the day you met me. And all we've been through, Apache Blue meant more to me than it meant to you. It's a real hard lesson to learn when the prodigal son returns. turns and there ain't no parade. All your records are shattered. There's new names hanging up in the rafters. Slow down, hometown. Why you gotta move so fast? Tell me why it feels like I'm the only one looking back. Oh, home sweet hometown. I hope that I made you proud. I wish you well. Hurts like hell to somebody else's now. Didn't think you could go on without me. Thought these streets revolved around me, but I outgrew you, couldn't hold me. Never thought that you'd outgrow me. Too used to think that I hated you. Now I wonder what I'd be if I stayed with you. Is there any part of me that you take with you, that you take with you? Slow down, hometown. Why you gotta move so fast? Tell me why it feels like I'm the only one looking back. Oh, home sweet hometown. I hope that I made you proud. I wish you well. Hurts like hell, but you're somebody else's now. The house that I grew up in won't ever be home again. No, you never know what you got until you're gone. Truth is, life goes on without me. If we just one minute, won't you slow down, hometown? Why you gotta move so fast? Tell me why it feels like I'm the only one looking back. Oh, home sweet hometown. I hope that I made you proud. I wish you well. Hurts like hell, but you're somebody else's now. Slow down, slow down, slow down. Slow down, slow down, slow down. Slow down, slow down, slow down. Slow down, slow down, slow down.
Hey, homecoming queen, why do you lie when somebody's mean? Where do you hide? Do people assume you're always alright? Been so good at smiling most of your life. Look damn good in the dress, zipping up the mess, dancing with your best foot forward. Does it get hard to have to play the part? Nobody's feeling sorry for you. But what if I told you the world wouldn't end if you started showing what's under your skin? What if you let them all in on the lie? Even the homecoming queen cries. Hey, homecoming queen, how's things at home? Still walking on eggshells when that curtain's closed. Did your daddy teach you how to act tough? Or more like your mama, sweep it under the rug? Look damn good in the dress, zipping up the mess, dancing with your best foot forward. Did you want the crown, or does it weigh you down? Nobody's feeling sorry sorry for you. What if I told you the world wouldn't end if you started showing what's under your skin? What if you let them all in on the ride? Even the homecoming queen cries. Yo, what if I told you the sky wouldn't fall if you lost your composure, said to hell with it all? Not everything pretty sparkles and shines, and even the homecoming queen cries. Oh yeah. Even the homecoming queen cries. Hey, homecoming queen, why did you lie when somebody's mean? Where did it hide?
We used to chase that Chattanooga freight, couple of kids in a Chevrolet, catch a little air when we cross the tracks, sipping on something from a paper sack. You hang your shirt on that maple limb, slipping through the moon to the river bend. Wasn't very long, I was jumping in. I guess I'm still doing now what I was doing then, chasing you like a shot of whiskey, burning, going down, chasing you like those goodbye tail lights, headed west to anywhere out of this nowhere town, chasing that freedom, chasing that feeling that got gone too soon, chasing that you and me I only see in my review. Yeah, I'm late tonight holding someone new, still chasing you, still chasing you. You always used to talk about LA. I heard you got as far as Santa Fe. Well, you know I tried to track you down. I only got as far as Guitar Town, singing about a girl I used to know that I haven't given up. I'm just on your radio, chasing you like a shot of whiskey, burning, going down, chasing you like those goodbye tail lights, headed west to anywhere out of this nowhere town, chasing that freedom, chasing that feeling that got gone too soon, chasing that you and me I only see in my review. Yeah, I'm late here tonight holding someone new, still chasing you, still chasing you. Chasing you like a shot of whiskey, burning, going down, chasing you like those goodbye tail lights, headed west to anywhere out of this nowhere town, chasing that freedom, chasing that feeling that got gone too soon, chasing that you and me I only see in my review. Yeah, I'm late here tonight holding someone new, still chasing you, still chasing you, still chasing you, still chasing you. Daddy, I'm afraid. Won't you stay a little while? Keep me safe, 'cause there's monsters right outside. Daddy, please don't go. I don't want to be alone, 'cause the second that you're gone, they're gonna know. Before he went to bed, he grabbed my hand and said, just 'cause I'm leaving, it don't mean that I won't be right by your side. When you need me, you can't see me in the middle of the night. Just close your eyes and say a prayer. It's okay, I know you're scared when I'm not here, but I'll always be right there. Even though I'm leaving, I ain't going nowhere. That will be late. And Uncle Sam don't like to wait. He's got a big old plane that's gonna take me far away. I know I act tough, but there's a churning in my gut, 'cause I just can't call you up when things get rough. Before I left, he hugged my neck and said, just 'cause you're leaving, it don't mean that I won't be right by your side. When you need me, you can't see me in the middle of the night. Just close your eyes and say a prayer. It's okay, I know you're scared, I might be here, but I'll always be right there. Even though you're leaving, I ain't going nowhere. Daddy, I'm afraid. Won't you stay a little while? I never thought I'd see the day I had to say goodbye. Daddy, please don't go. I can't do this on my own. There's no way that I can walk this road alone. Daddy grabbed my hand and said, just 'cause I'm leaving, it don't mean that I won't be right by your side. When you need me and you can't see me in the middle of the night, just close your eyes and say a prayer. It's okay, boy, I ain't scared, I won't be here, but I'll always be right there. Even though I'm leaving, I ain't going nowhere. I ain't going nowhere.
Have you ever had your heart beat skipping like a rock on the water? Have you ever felt a July kiss make summer burn a little hotter? Have you ever felt faster than a Chevrolet rolling round a bend? Left a t-shirt hanging on a hickory limb before you jumped in. Girl, you ain't been loved till you've been loved by a country boy. Bet you never felt nothing like that, no. Girl, you ain't been loved till you've been loved by a country boy. Steal your heart and won't give it back. Don't you want that love? Come and get this love, baby. Girl, you ain't been loved till you've been loved by a country boy. Loved by a country boy. Have you ever laid down on a blanket underneath the harvest moon, looked up at a shooting star, yeah, and knew a wish was made on you? How about a little dirt road ride? How about a little